We're continuing our look at how this MacBook fits into campus life. Well, actually, any school life. As most of you know, I have lots of children, and my oldest just graduated from university. And every paper, every email, every website visited, every internet chat conversation home asking me for money, they all happened on her Mac. Actually, they all happened on this Mac. It is now a very tired, beat up, abused little notebook, but I love it. It saw my daughter through 5 years of university, and when it came time to retire this old iBook, I asked her what she wanted, and no surprise, she requested a new MacBook. Now, if I'd tried to foist a Windows PC on her, I might have suffered physical violence as I was whacked upside of the head by her, or perhaps by the notebook I tried to give her. Why all this passion over a little laptop? Well, let me show you some of the things that the Mac brings to the table to engender such support. And first and foremost, the operating system for any computer needs to seamlessly enable different applications. It needs to provide stability and security. It needs to keep your work safe. Apple's OS X does all those things. It's very secure, so viruses and other nasties that haunt the Windows world are virtually unknown in the Mac universe. Secondly, Apple recognizes the importance of system-wide security, and they've built tools into the operating system, as well as integration with other tools like Apple's .Mac service that assure your work is always protected and secure. Now, last season, we looked at how the Mac can really secure all of a student's work and effort. And if you take a look at our website, you can watch the podcast of that episode for more information. Now, iLife is the suite of tools that ships with every Mac for free. We once worked out how much it would cost to replicate what iLife does on a Windows PC, and the bill was well over $1,000. iLife contains, well, let's take a look. iLife contains, first of all, iTunes, which is our music applications, and it's available in both Windows and Mac. It also has iPhoto, which is our photo management and sharing software. It has iMovie, which is now in high definition, so you can actually use your Mac to edit and create your own high definition video, and you can do a brilliant job with it. It includes iDVD, which allows you to output your videos onto DVD, or to output photo and slideshows onto DVD, or your music, burn your own CDs. And it also includes GarageBand for making your own music. And as if that's not enough, we have iWeb for creating our own websites. Essentially, iLife becomes the heart of your digital life. It manages all the areas of technology that make our life richer: our music, our photos, our video, and the web. So from a personal standpoint, the Mac OS, amazing. Entertainment-wise, as well as iTunes for your music, the Mac is great for, say, watching DVDs. This MacBook includes a remote. It's got a widescreen format, so it's great for watching movies. You know, Stephanie didn't even own a DVD player or a TV when she was in residence. She simply watched movies on her Mac, which was good because it meant there were 2 less things that I had to buy her. Now back to students and schoolwork. You can run all of the entertainment and lifestyle applications we discussed, as well as the business applications such as Microsoft Office, including Microsoft Word. Now, you would not believe how many people still think that you can't run Microsoft Office on a Mac. I think I've said it on this show about 1,000 times, and yet it still isn't sinking in for some people. Maybe I gotta shout it out, or maybe I gotta get a t-shirt made, or maybe I can just show you and you'll listen. Look, Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, Microsoft Excel, Office. Double click on it, and we can work in it exactly the same as we're working in Windows, except we're working on a Mac. When we save the file can be transferred onto a Windows machine and worked on, opened, saved in the native file format, sent back to the Mac. There's no filters, there's nothing required. The file format's the same going back and forth. So if you need to work in Word, Excel, or PowerPoint, fill your boots. And now we have this additional new option, which is Apple's iWork. It contains pages and numbers. Now that's Apple's word processor and Apple's spreadsheet, and I want to show you that because it's very nice. So this is Pages, Apple's word processor. Now it's a template-based word processor, although you can start with a blank page and format it all yourself. But the nice thing about both these applications is they work with templates. So if you're going to start a new document, you can choose if you want to have a letter, if you're going to do an envelope, if you're doing a resume, and they'll give you some nice layout to start you along, and then you just work on it as you would in a regular word processor. And of course, you can even export it so people could view it and open it in Microsoft Word if they wanted to see it themselves. On the spreadsheet side, they have Numbers, which is the newest of the iWork applications. And again, it's a spreadsheet that works just like Excel does, except Apple's added their twist of excellent templates to work with to make things easier. So now you've got a great alternative to Microsoft Office. With Pages, we have a great word processor. With Numbers, we have a great spreadsheet on the Mac. And let's not forget Keynote for presentations. We have all these applications with the Mac panache. But the Mac can also now run Windows as well. And this is big news, but it can be a little bit confusing. So I'm going to explain it today, and then a little later in the season, we're going to take some time and actually show you how it works. But basically, when Apple moved from the Motorola processor to the Intel Core Duo processor, it meant that the Mac can now run Windows in native mode, meaning on the hardware rather than in software emulation, which used to be the case. So here's how it works. You partition your hard drive and run Boot Camp. Now the Mac OS lives in one partition and Windows will live in another partition. And when you boot the computer up, you have to choose which operating system you want to run. Now there is some file crossover, but you can't jump back and forth. So if you're running in the Mac OS and you need to do something in Windows, you have to shut down the computer and restart in Windows in order to work in Windows. Now software emulation option is still available. There's companies like Parallels that allow you to run Windows and Mac OS at the same time. And what happens there is you're running your regular Mac OS and Parallels creates a virtual Windows machine in software so that you can run any application in emulation mode. And it works very well. The neat thing when you're running the Parallels solution is you can switch back and forth between Mac and Windows on the fly. But you want to make sure you have quite a bit of RAM if you do that. Now, why do some people need to run Windows applications on the Mac? Because the Mac does almost everything? Well, there's a few applications like Outlook that some people need to run and some other dedicated applications like AutoCAD that only run in Windows. So sometimes you're going to want to be able to run Windows on a Mac. Now, these are all nice options to have, but to be honest, most of us never need that option. Everything we could ever need to do, we can do on the Mac out of the box. It's fully featured for most of what we do in life. And when you add Office or iWork to the mix, well, you may never have to install another piece of software. The Mac is just that complete. For students making the decision what computer to choose, well, the only real question is black or white.